Hey ninjas, welcome back. In this video, we'll be looking into the best uses of e-commerce email marketing. Why is that? Because email marketing essentially is the most profitable source on earth. In fact, if you do it right, you can expect about $1 in revenue for every one email on your mailing list every single month, which essentially means 10,000 emails equals $10,000 in revenue every month, and 30,000 emails equals $30,000 in revenue every single month. Not bad, right? So e-commerce email marketing essentially helps you do multiple things. First, it helps you nurture those who have given you their email address but haven't bought from you yet, and nurture them until they're ready. Essentially pull out their wallet and buy, because remember that even in a well-optimized e-commerce store, most people won't buy when they visit. But if they don't buy, the next best thing is to essentially collect their email address so that you can keep in touch with them and be there when they are ready to buy. And the other thing is also that e-commerce email marketing allows you to essentially sell again to those who already bought from you again, which, by the way, it's 6 to 7 times more likely to sell to those people who already purchased from you before. And it's the best way to get them back through e-commerce email marketing. So in this video, you'll be getting a full guide on email marketing, and specifically on how to build your list. As you know, the list is super important, and that's where the money is. Second, once you've got the list, how to turn those emails into dollars and the best practice when it comes to e-commerce email marketing. And third, we're gonna go through my most favorite e-commerce marketing tools. So regardless if you're new to e-commerce or if you've been in the game for a while, stick until the end, because this information will help you get the most out of your e-commerce email marketing and really collect more emails and turn those emails into dollars. Hi, my name is Silvia. I am one of the co-founders of the Traffic Ninjas. If you are new to us and you are new to this channel, we talk about the little known untapped ways in e-commerce and how to make it work for you, even if you've got limited resources, because frankly, just like you, we are also small business owners, and most strategies out there don't work for small e-commerce businesses. And therefore, we are exploring here the little untapped ways that essentially help you do things faster and easier. So guys, if you haven't done that yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so that you don't miss out. Okay, but let's talk about list building, because that's super important. Number one thing essentially on the e-commerce email marketing topic, because you know the power is in the list, and the list will also protect your business when times get tough. What do I mean by that? Throughout my journey, I met many entrepreneurs, each having a different approach to business, each having different approach to email marketing and marketing in general. And a few years ago, I met an e-commerce entrepreneur. His name is Jaren, and Jaren is an incredible guy, and he has built a multiple 7-figure e-commerce business, which has been fantastic. However, he did used to focus on cold traffic, and he wasn't focusing on repeat purchase so much. Neither was he focusing on his email marketing so much. And those of you guys who have been in the game for a while, you know that last year and a half, there were many changes when it comes to traffic and how much traffic costs, how to get the best traffic, and the precision of what that traffic is. And because he didn't have that e-commerce email marketing in place, and he wasn't building his list, and his list wasn't what we call warmed up, unfortunately, his business came this close to essentially crashing down. And during the same time, I met an entrepreneur called Adriana, and her e-commerce business wasn't initially doing as well as Jaren's, but she was always focusing on building her list. She was always like, let's collect more emails, let's nurture these emails, let's collect emails, let's nurture these emails. And honestly, that email list that she built when everybody else was going through super tough times, that email list carried her through. Because remember, every single email address on your list equals $1 every single month, okay? So what are the easiest ways to actually start building your email list? That's really important to know. So first of all, you want to have a simple pop-up or a quiz on your website. That's really, really important. And I'll talk you through which tools you can use to build that. Now, for the pop-ups, those of you guys who decide to go for certain pop-ups, ideally you want to have something that incentivizes your customers to first give you their email address and then purchase from you. It could be a discount on your first order, it could be a free sample, or it could be even like VIP access to, for example, VIP access to some sales or to promotions, which in other words is just access to your newsletter. So your job when it comes to that simple pop-up on your website, your job is to make that as attractive as possible to your ideal customer so that they really want to give you their email address in an exchange for that incentive that you are offering to them. So things you want to avoid though are words like sign up to my newsletter, because honestly, nobody wants to sign up and nobody wants any more newsletters in their inbox. So it always has to be something that really adds a lot of value in return. You can also have quizzes on your website, right? So instead of a pop-up, you can be like, hey, take this quiz. And that could be something that really adds a lot of value to your ideal customer. For example, if you're selling cosmetics, it could be like, oh, what skin type are you? Or it could be a PDF download a fashion color palette that suits your skin tone or something like that. So depending on what niche you are, first of all, select like, am I going to do a simple pop-up or am I going to do a quiz or maybe even a downloadable PDF, and start thinking about what your ideal customer would be interested in, what would add value to them, okay? In my personal opinion, if you ask me which was is the easiest, if you don't have a simple pop-up yet, then I would start with that, because that is literally super simple. You can have it set up in 5 minutes, and then later on, once you're collecting those emails effectively, you can also add to that a quiz or a downloadable on one of the other pages, obviously, if you want. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to measure how irresistible is your essential email offer for people to give you their email address, because people won't be just nilly-willy giving their email addresses, okay? I want to make this clear, okay? So if you have a pop-up that offers a discount or an incentive that your customers are interested in, typically you are looking at 3 to 5 emails for every visitors, okay? So you always want to aim at that. Hey, am I getting at least 3 to 5 emails for every 100 people that are coming to my page? And if you are like panicking right now because you are like, oh my God, I don't even have hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of people coming to my website, then do not worry. Just watch this video on how to bring traffic to your website, because that's an entirely different topic. Okay guys, so when it comes to e-commerce email marketing, what do you want to avoid? You want to avoid things like, I know some of you are impatient and you really want to get going, but what I guys want you warn is that you don't want to essentially be buying the list from somebody, okay? Because some of you are like, oh my God, it's going to take such a long time to build this list and collect these emails. I just want it now. I just want it ASAP. Why would I be avoiding this? Because personally, I've met many e-commerce entrepreneurs who paid marketing companies over $5,000 to $10,000 for a list that was first irresponsive, and they didn't even get those people to open those emails, let alone buy anything from them, okay? Because that way you can start getting like domain issues, because those people most probably haven't specifically opted in for your mailing list, and so on and so forth. Your emails might end up being in spam, which is a whole another topic, and then essentially your money just gets lost. So in my personal opinion, if you really want to speed up that process, then rather than buying a list, I would still suggest to build your list, but in that case, I would invest in essentially some paid traffic to speed up the traffic coming to your store. So you build a list, which is fantastic. Now let's talk about how to turn those emails into dollars, because that is the next part of e-commerce email marketing. That opted in, yeah! So let's now start turning those emails into sales. And the number one mistake I see e-commerce entrepreneurs make is that, first of all, they collect those emails and then they don't do anything. Like nothing at all, crickets, okay? Once you collect an email, guys, people, your customers need to hear from you ASAP, okay? Number 2 mistake that I see all the time is that essentially they opt into your list and you send them one email and that's it. Oh, here's your coupon. Or hey, how are you? Buy from us, we're amazing. Guys, it's not gonna do anything, okay? Instead, you want to set up what we call a welcome sequence. A welcome sequence, not a single email, not 2 emails, but a whole sequence. And essentially once it's done, and it's gonna be collecting money for you over and over and over and over. This is super important because it gives your customers a chance to get to know you, first of all, because remember, they don't know you yet. They just landed on your page, they've given you their email, so they don't really know you just yet. This will also give them a chance to find out why your products are better, okay? Why your products are better and why to buy from you. And lastly, these emails will also give them a little push on why now is the best time to buy from you. So if you want to deep dive further into this topic and you want step-by-step and email by email flow, then we've got another video on that. Okay, so now they've given you an email address and you've sent them a welcome flow. I need you guys to understand that we always talk about sequences and blasts when it comes to e-commerce email marketing, okay? Sequences, we also refer to that as flows, and blast, let me explain what that actually is about. What is the difference, okay? Blast is something you send as a one-off email manually, and essentially a sequence or a flow, as I already mentioned, has a certain trigger, like somebody who just joins your list, and goes on for a few days, and you build it once, and once it's done, okay? So in order to monetize your e-commerce email marketing, you essentially need a mixture of both, right? That makes sense. Like you need a mixture of sequences or flows and blasts. So let's dive a little deeper into what kind of sequences could you have, okay? So as I already said, sequence, or somebody refers to it as flow, is something that you build once, you set certain criteria, and then it's done, and then it's automatically sending to people who fulfill that criteria. As I mentioned, it could be a welcome sequence sent to everybody immediately after they opt into your list. It could also be a special VIP sale invite or VIP sale invite flow that goes to everyone who has been on your list for a certain period of time or has been actively engaging in your emails, because some email databases also have what they call engagement scores, but I'll talk about the tools in just a moment. Now, in an ideal world, you want to set up a few of these sequences so that you are keeping your customers continuously engaged, okay? Because once they've opted into your world and they are inside your email list, you want to make sure that this is quite personalized, okay? These sequences are amazing because once you set up those triggers, essentially these sequences will be kicking off 24/7, not just when you're ready, but when they are ready. When your customer is ready to receive that email, essentially this sequence will be flowing to them. So therefore, sequences or flows are extremely important inside your e-commerce email marketing strategy because they work on the customer clock, not on your clock, and therefore are much more likely to turn those emails into dollars than anything else. Okay, so let's talk about e-commerce email marketing blasts now. Okay, so we talked about the sequences or flows. Now let's talk about the blast. The first thing you want to do is essentially map out your major promotional events in your industry in e-commerce, right? So typically for everybody, it's going to be things like Christmas and Easter and back to school and Black Friday, Cyber Monday, which is, by the way, the biggest weekend in e-commerce email marketing. It could be anything else that's related to your specific industry. And so these ones, essentially once these events fill up your promotional calendar, this will be what we call your blasts. Now they can also be still 4 to 5 emails in a row. So it might seem like a sequence, but it won't be an evergreen sequence, if that makes sense, because it will be for some specific period of time that year. Now, these are super, super important because essentially they allow you to communicate to your customers during the big promotional period when your customers are expecting that. Now, the other extremely important part when it comes to e-commerce email marketing is essentially your weekly email. When it comes to your weekly emails, I know that most of you guys don't want to do weekly emails. I know that because you are like, oh, I don't want people to unsubscribe, and I honestly don't want to spam anyone. But what you guys don't realize is that until you keep top of mind for your customers will completely forget about you, and they will buy from somebody else who sends them an email, okay? So it's you making a sale or somebody else making a sale. Which one do you want? Which one do you want, okay? Now, also remember that there is a cost to having essentially emails on your database that are not doing anything. So from my point of view, I'm always thinking, well, if they are not the right customer for me and want to unsubscribe, why have them on my list in the first place? I just send them an email. If they're not interested, they'll unsubscribe and I'll let it go. Rather than just sit on that email list, not do anything, and then actually create a cost for myself because I'm not sending emails to people who are not interested in the first place. So guys, every week, send them an email. Don't be afraid. Every week, send them an email. Most people won't essentially open it anyway, okay? That's another thing you need to remember. Like a really good open rate is 20%, which means 80% of people have not had a chance to look at that email. So remember, every week, send them an email. That's how you're gonna turn those emails into dollars. And I know that some of you are like, hey, every week, but what am I gonna talk about? What am I gonna talk about? Okay, so here are some ideas for you. Hey, these are the new products we've got in stock. Hey guys, these are our last pieces left. I thought you would be interested. You can also send an email that talks about like, hey, I thought you might like this. You can also send an email that's all about taking people behind the scenes. Hey, did you know that we've got a sustainable factory in this place, in this town? And did you know that we've already supported all of these families? You can also send an email that's doing product comparison, because most of you guys, you have small businesses with boutique, high quality product, and most of you are not really explaining the amazing quality. So you can do that inside an email. Super simple. Or you can also send an email if you do have a promotion. You can do that too, but it doesn't have to be. The one thing that you do want to remember though is that e-commerce email marketing, as everything in e-commerce, is a visual experience, okay? So no matter what, make sure that each of your emails has more images than text, because it's the images that are going to do the selling for you. Okay, so you understand how to turn those email addresses into dollars, but let's discuss now the best tools to use for e-commerce email marketing. From my point of view, there are many tools you can use for e-commerce email marketing, and each of them will be essentially promoting some features to you and will be coming with something specific, like, hey, did you know we've got this? I personally prefer these three that I'm going to tell you about, and I've tested and tried many, but I personally prefer MailChimp if you're starting out, Klaviyo if you are on Shopify, and ActiveCampaign if you want to be more sophisticated with your e-commerce email marketing. So how about MailChimp? So MailChimp is great. It's super easy and it's really cheap to start with, okay? It's quite intuitive. That's why it's called MailChimp, I guess, because even a monkey can do that. However, once your database reaches a certain point, it starts getting quite expensive, and the flows and sequences, in my opinion, are a little bit basic. So we used to have MailChimp for a few years, and then we ended up swapping to a different database. I like the reporting though in MailChimp. And I do also like that you can resend an email just by changing a subject line, and you can do that from your phone. And that's pretty fantastic, because remember how I said that most people won't open your email anyway? So what you can do in MailChimp is essentially resend the same email to people who have not opened the first email, just change the subject line, and ta-da, it looks like a whole new email, although it is not. Now, Klaviyo. Klaviyo is great because it integrates well with your Shopify store, and hence the reporting as to who bought from email and who bought from different sources can be quite accurate. So I quite like that. It's also quite intuitive to use. And if it's worth anything, for me, I feel like it looks really good, but it can be a little bit expensive to run. So depends what stage of your business you are in. Now, when it comes to Active Campaign is when you're really serious with your e-commerce email marketing. It's definitely not pretty to look at, that's for sure. When we first got Active Campaign, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, we're paying for this? Like, doesn't look great at all. And it's not very intuitive either, and you need to know exactly what you want and how to use it. I guess I'm really selling it here because things are just not obvious there. However, having said that, and I'm speaking as an Active Campaign customer, however, it's got some great functionality and you can segment your audience based on how engaged they are, which is really, really great. As I said before though, it's for people who are a bit more serious about their e-commerce email marketing, because Active Campaign is not very pretty and it's not so intuitive. So you kind of need to be looking at it from different angles and know really what you want to achieve and what kind of sequence or flow or blast you want to be sending. Okay, so remember, when it comes to e-commerce, email marketing, the money is in the list. Don't wait, start building it now and send an email every week. And remember, once they opt in inside your database, you always want to send a welcome sequence, which I've already given you the path to get to. Now, if you haven't subscribed yet and haven't hit the like button yet, do that now, and make sure you also put your thoughts inside the comments to let us know what you liked and what you'd like to see more of. So for more resources on e-commerce email marketing, just watch the next video, and I cannot wait to talk to you soon. Ho!